Universe doesn't make mistakes. You are alone right now because you are supposed to be. Greetings, beautiful being. Welcome back to my channel, Rising with Rachel. I am Rachel, and together we rise in talking about all things cosmic and consciousness. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you're feeling like you want to share a little extra love. Maybe leave a comment down below, as it does help our silly little human earthly algorithm. And so much as I don't want to be a part of that, I do want to be a part of spreading the messages that are so deeply needed to be planted like little seeds in the consciousness of the human collective during this revolutionary time in human history, as we are on the forefront of this insane spiritual revolution. We are witnessing the greatest mass awakening in all of human history. And through our own individual shadow work and implementing new mindsets and awarenesses within our individual bodies, we are therefore also helping the vibration of the entire planet raise, so that Earth herself can embody the fifth dimensional planet based in love, expansion, and freedom that she was always meant to be. And it starts with you and me and our awareness. So let's get into it. So today, friends, I want to talk to you about being alone, being isolated, feeling like you have nothing and nobody, which sounds really lonely, but also is it? Because if there's one thing that I've learned about my own isolation and the cocoon period that the universe has kept me in, it's that at first, it felt isolating. It felt lonely. It felt like I had nowhere else to turn. But it was because the universe was trying to get me to stop turning externally and looking for the answers outside of myself, but rather look within. And that is something that we are not taught how to do. In fact, most of us are probably taught to avoid that, right? We are taught to just keep going, past is the past, and to just keep pushing and actually be productive. And that's really hard. It's really hard, especially when you also deal with mental health issues like anxiety and depression. Feeling isolated and feeling alone can leave you feeling paralyzed, can leave you feeling like nobody cares about you or loves you. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. And that's something that I also want to relay while you're in this little cocoon period, is that the universe doesn't want you to be alone, because also the universe knows that you're not alone. You're never alone. You are always surrounded by your spirit guides and your angelic team and your starseed lineage and dragons and fairies and all of these other mystical elemental beings. But because we don't perceive them with our normal human earthly eyes in this third dimension that we live in, they're all operating in the higher realms, we think that we are alone. But I promise you that this is a part of the lesson of being alone, is realizing that you're not alone. Because something that I learned through my own experience as well is that, again, in the beginning it felt very isolating, but when I started to internally process this fact that I was never actually alone, it felt better to be alone. Just because you're alone doesn't mean that you have to be lonely. And in fact, I think that once you kind of work through these little hurdles that show up amidst your isolation, you will start to understand, as I like to say, that you are never alone, and then actually really value that. It will actually take a lot once you get on the other side of this feeling lonely for people to bring you out of your own element. Because when you start to fall in love with yourself, when you start to fall in love with your own energy and the things that you're doing for other people, for the planet, for yourself, and you're falling in love with life around you and the way that you show up and the magic that you can create and the mysteries of the universe and how you get to try to figure them out and put the pieces together and apply them to your own life to make it the best that it is hard to pull you out of that isolation, because you are creating magic all day, every day. So for someone to pull you out of that to be in a relationship, for example, might be a little harder, because if there's one thing, again, I've learned through my experience, it's that I actually now am finding it hard to go out and date, because I value my own time so much. I value my isolation because I know that my time alone is my time to be productive, is my time to rest, is my time to focus on things like this, where I can create things that I want to make an impact on the planet. Now I'm on this side of the isolation, the coming out of it phase, where I'm starting to realize that it's a very slippery slope, because you start with feeling really alone and isolated, to then loving the isolation, to then needing to find a perfect balance to integrate your isolation experience and move forward with the lessons and wisdoms that you learned in it, but still move through and be a real human with real relations to others and actually engage and be a part of society. And it's weird. Coming out of it phase is definitely initiated from the acceptance of being alone, because with the acceptance comes the permission to then do that inner work that is so deeply needed. Otherwise, the universe wouldn't have you there, which leads me to my next point. Nothing that the universe does is an accident. You are alone right now because you are supposed to be. You have some stuff to figure out, and that's okay. This is the time where time itself slows down so that you can rest, so that you can focus on what it is that you want. Maybe you're not specific enough. Maybe you're not taking enough inspired action. Maybe you don't know what that inspired action should be. Maybe you've spent too much of your lifetime looking for validation in other people and need to start finding it within yourself. The universe has you where it has you because there is something that you need to accomplish. So instead of wondering, why am I here? Why do I feel lonely? Why do people keep abandoning me? Did I break up with my best friend, my boyfriend? Why don't you take a second to ask yourself why it is the universe has you here? What is it that you could be learning during this time that can actually really help you throughout the rest of your life? Because one thing about the universe is that it's going to have you in boot camp in these little cocoon phases. And first, I think it starts with matters of the self and then starts to expand out into relating to others. As a personal example, again, through my own cocoon phase, I realized that I felt very alone and isolated in the beginning, like nobody understood me, and it was really hard to have connections with anybody. Most of my connections fell away as I was starting to really do this work to look at myself, and sure, that was sad. I do deal with depression and anxiety, so it was, double homicide there. But those natural obstacles that we are given, right, even they are for a reason, because they are our greatest teachers. And that's something I learned in my isolation phase as well. It was how to sit and deal with my depression and my anxiety. And that was a part of one of the lessons that I need to learn in that cocoon phase to actually gain the tools that I needed to move on into my next chapter. Because if I want to embody all of the dreams and the visions that I have for myself and expand in these ways that I know I will, and experience these amazing timelines with all this amazing abundance, I need to be the clearest that I am internally. Something that came to me the other day while I was meditating was less density, more destiny. So all I've been doing is focusing on releasing what it is in my body that no longer serves me. And it comes up in a multitude of ways in a multi-dimensional experience. The last video, I'll tag it here as well as in the description down below, I actually mentioned that, the healing process is not linear. It's not something that you just say, okay, I forgive this person, I move on from this situation. It's something that every time you have a triggering thought, you have to think about it and re-release the experience. And it's very much the same with doing shadow work, with really diving deep within yourself and doing that work that's required to release whatever it is that's stored within you. And the universe will keep you there for as long as it needs. And that's something that's a struggle too, because if you're any sort of intuitive, then you can feel the greatness that's on its way for you. Your visions, your dreams, they are not just things you're making up in your imagination. Your imagination is connected to your future timeline. Back to my little timeline here, because what I notice is that it seems to be matters of self, then matters of society. This is what I'm dealing with in real time, because now that I have done a lot of the work that was required of me, was focused on the matters of myself, I am now processing and integrating how it is that I relate to society and integrating myself back into it from this new whole place. And it's kind of like ironing out the wrinkles of the little lines and creases in the fabric of your life that you missed. So for example, I've done all this inner work around self-worth, and I know my value, and I know that I'm here to produce something purposeful for the planet and deliver these amazing messages. I've done that internal stuff on me, right? Matters of the self. But now I'm processing how to integrate it back into society. And one of the ways, for example, was that I felt a lot of resistance towards recording this video today. And then I had to sit and ask myself, why is it that I'm facing this resistance? And what is that story telling me about myself, my own productivity? And what does my productivity tell me about myself? So it's been really interesting, honestly, to see how it started off with just straight up self-love concepts, straight up self-healings, straight up, you need to know that you matter. You need to know that you have a purpose. And now, as I have really not only learned those lessons, but also integrated them, right? Because it's not that the universe just keeps you in isolation to teach you things and let you keep it pushing, like yes and no. If you move as fast as you apply the lessons in your life, unless you're really not applying them and the universe just needs to kick your ass of wherever you are, which has happened to me. But when you actually start applying what it is that you learn, so for example, in the beginning of my isolation phase, which was probably about 2 years ago now, I had to learn straight up self-worth, which meant that I had to learn boundaries, which meant that I had to learn sticking up for myself, which meant that I had to not accept less than I deserved. Even if I didn't feel like I deserved it at that time in the beginning, I had to still stick with it because I was teaching myself self-love. Then, because the universe saw me applying those lessons in real time, life happened and things moved forward, and all of a sudden those lessons no longer needed to be applied as much. I wasn't necessarily magnetizing to me people or experiences that needed to teach me that, because I clearly learned it, and not only learned it, but I was putting out the energy that I learned it because I was applying the lessons. And our external reality is just a reflection of our internal one. So when the universe saw that I was doing this inner work, it had no problem providing better experiences for me. And now, because I have done the most basic foundation building of those concepts like self-love, self-worth, and so forth, now it gets to be about the people. As much as it is also still about myself, it is very much now about society. And I'm reflecting in what ways I can show up that are productive to society, and what way can I encourage people to express their authenticity, to live in their truth. Reflecting on society also does mirror back to me what it is that I still need to do. Like I just told you, having resistance to this YouTube video, I know that I have a deeper purpose here. I know that I'm here to spread these messages, to plant seeds in the consciousness of the human collective that blossom within everybody's individual mindsets that watch these videos at whatever divine time they're supposed to really help them integrate its change of energy so that they can reclaim their power back and take control over their own life and reality and live the dream life that they've been wanting to. So why couldn't I just turn my camera on? Why couldn't I just show up? What is that reflecting to me about me? And also, am I taking away from society by doing that? Because there is somebody that needs to hear this video and message. And it is back and forth. And as much as it's not linear, it also kind of is. Because like I said, starts with matter of the self. And then as you're kind of needing to come out of your isolation phase and integrate back into society, you start processing things in terms of other. So it goes from other to self, but as within, so without. But again, the only way that I was able to move further into my cocoon phase and feel like my wings are starting to actually break out of it is through applying the work. And that meant not distracting myself. I am so sick and tired of hearing about people be stuck in the same cycle and honestly not do anything to help themselves. I am a person that, I will do the same thing 500 times, but on the 501st, like I am done. And I feel like there really just has to be a point where you are sick of your own shit. To be honest, you have to be sick of the life that you don't want to live anymore, because it is so far from alignment of where your heart is at and who you truly are and the things that you came here to do. And you have to be the one that draws the line in the sand and says, you know what, enough is enough. Because also, baby, nobody is going to do that work for you. And I hate to tell you, but nobody is going to come in on a shining white horse and ride off with you into your next abundant chapter. You have to be the person that calls the horse. You have to be the horse. You have to be the person sitting on the horse. You have to be the person feeding the horse, giving the horse directions. You have to be doing everything yourself. And when you are whole in your own energy and your own frequency, and you start really doing that shadow work on why it is you even want somebody, what it is that you think you're getting out of validation from a job, from a person, from an experience, when you start really getting your own answers, then that's when the universe will give you everything that you've been asking for. Again, less density, more destiny. The only thing that you can really do to call in the dream life that you've been wanting is release it all. Your dreams are not a train that's going to pass you by. The train will find you and create a stop wherever you are and wait for you to hop on board, but to be in the place to energetically receive it. And you are not energetically in a place to receive when you are out here looking for external validation through another person, through another job, through social media likes, whatever it is. We all can liberate ourselves from whatever shackles we feel like are on us. And I say that coming from really heavy experiences. So I know that it's possible. And it hurts my heart to see that people lock themselves in these prisons over even the smallest things. And that's not to invalidate anybody's experience. However, I feel like perspective is very deeply required and is something that, I had to integrate as well in my own healing journey and my own isolation phase, was that perspective of maybe I can heal myself. Maybe I can move on from this. Maybe the universe doesn't want me to suffer and be alone for the rest of my life. Maybe the universe is doing this for a good reason. You need to open your mind to these things. And I feel like when people just keep themselves in the same cycle over and over and over again, and they don't get sick of their own it blows my mind. So you need to be sick of your own because that's truly the only way that you will actually be able to integrate and say, you know what, I'm tired of looking outside, so maybe I need to look inside. And that's what the universe is trying to tell you to do when it keeps you isolated. One thing that I realized was that I dealt with people continuously abandoning me because I was looking for validation outside of myself, because I was looking for other people to give me answers. But in reality, I was just creating more attachment, because if you don't know who you are and if you don't know what you want and you don't know what you're here to do and you don't know your own value, when you place it in somebody else, you are literally giving that person so so much power over you, and it's a way that you lose out on your power. You need to reclaim your power and say that no matter what happens in my life, I am whole, I am stable, I am secure, I am valuable. If you put your self-worth and your self-love in somebody else's hands, and one day that person decides that they don't want to text you all day just because they're not in the mood to, or not secure in yourself, you will take that as something that is crippling to your self-worth, to your self-value. You're going to start to go down the rabbit hole, start to go down these cycles of shame and abandonment once again. And guess what? You are going to self-sabotage, and that person is probably going to abandon you because you either acted out and were crazy and freaked out on them when maybe they just slept all day, haven't checked their phone, or maybe you'll be hyper independent and push them away because you're trying to protect yourself from getting hurt when they haven't even done anything to hurt you yet. Or you'll just move on from the situation, pretend like it didn't happen, and then that person will do something else that puts your self-identity into shambles, or you'll break up with them and the next person will do it. These cycles are going to keep showing up in your life until you get the message. The more you deal with just being alone, by the way, the quicker you'll find your person, your community, all of the people in your life that are in alignment with you, because when you lessen the density, you create more destiny. The only thing that you really have to do right now to get to where you want to be is focus on the now. There's a reason there is so much emphasis on presence throughout anything spiritual ever, throughout any culture, for all of history. And it's because this is where all the magic is. When you are stuck in thoughts of the past or thoughts of the future, you are everywhere besides your physical body. And this is something that I've learned in my own experience, and is being present in my body, just doing what feels good. I don't have to have it all figured out today, and neither do you. Maybe today you just paint. Maybe today you just take a good long nap. Maybe today you just promise to give yourself a good nutritious meal. When you do things to feel good in the now, the answers will come. The clarity will arise that you would have never been able to perceive on had you been stuck in that density, feeling like you're not lovable or feeling like you have no purpose. When you release these densities within your body, that makes space for the destiny. That makes space for your DNA to literally change structure, that they can embody a new being, a new you, happier, more integrated, more blissful, more light, more joyful, more connected, more tapped in, more purposeful you. So please give yourself the time to be alone. Please, as the friend that is sick and tired of hearing about the same relationship drama, who has told her own friends that respectfully they cannot hear it anymore because they cannot keep listening to somebody that doesn't want to help themselves, please help yourself. This is something I also had to sit with myself, was that I was the person that was complaining about the same person over and over again, doing the same exact things and the same exact experiences through different people, until I realized I was sick of my own was tired of saying the same things. I was exhausted of having the same experiences. If you don't change, nothing changes. You need to be the one that says, okay, enough is enough. Maybe this experience that I'm living, where people keep abandoning me, or I keep ending up alone and isolated, is actually the universe's feedback system that I need to be alone, that I need to do this inner work, that I need to be isolated to come into these new awarenesses, these new mindsets within myself. And maybe I need to stop distracting myself with going out or going on dating apps or being on social media. Maybe, just maybe, I need to do the hard work. And you know what the crazy part is? It's not even hard. In the same way today that I felt the resistance about recording this video, I was like, why? All I need to do is go like this and start yapping. Like, it's really not that difficult. What is it within this resistance that I'm actually fighting? The things was definitely like not feeling enough, feeling like maybe there isn't enough space for me. And that's something that I'm working on, because there is enough space for me. And I'm reminded of that every single day. I know that this particular lifestyle that I want, that abundant, that comes easy, that isn't a lot of hard work. All of that rewiring that I'm doing comes from my isolation process. If I already had 1 million subscribers on YouTube and have given a TED Talk and all my other dreams, then the universe would have to find another way to reflect back to me that I'm still holding these codes of not having a strong enough self-value. But had I not been triggered initially, then I would not have been able to do those reflections and rewire those programs within myself. And as I do that, I'm then changing the structure of my DNA. I am retraining new programs into my body. It's like downloading an iOS update on your laptop or your computer. I am updating my internal system so that the capacity it's operating at is greater, is based in more love, authenticity, truth, and that will naturally raise my vibration. And then I will be creating content from this higher vibrational place, from this place of truth, from the heart, which is literally implemented into the video, which then gets to be placed online and brought to other people that might need to hear this message, that is connected through that energy that I have put into this video, and the people that are on the same energetic frequency that I was as I was recording this video. But yeah, I wouldn't have been able to come to those realizations had I not been alone. So be by yourself, be alone, because again, you are never really alone. You have your spirit guides, you have your angelic team, you have your starseed family that is out here always protecting, supporting, and giving you answers. And you also have me and this conscious community that I'm trying to build. I promise you there's going to be a day where the flip switches and you fall in love with being alone, because it doesn't feel as lonely. Just keep hanging in there. Keep doing what you can do to feel good in every now moment. Give yourself the grace of understanding that it's not always 1 foot forward and sometimes it's 1 foot back, but even that foot back is actually 2 steps forward, because there's really no such thing as going backwards. It's an all over the place experience, okay? Give yourself grace for whatever part of it you're at every given time, and just do whatever you can to feel good in every now moment and focus on your frequency, because allowing is simply the message here. And when you allow life to flow and you learn the lessons and you apply the lessons to your own life, I promise you, day by day, you're going to start to feel your legs turn into wings, and then you're going to start to feel the cocoon getting a little too tight, and then you're going to start to feel your wings breaking out of the cocoon, and it's this whole really beautiful multi-dimensional experience that I promise you is so worth it. And just release your expectations. For more on expectations, you can also check out this video here, and I'll put in the description below as well. But when you don't have expectations, life can play out more beautifully for you, because you're not feeling like you need to control what's going on in your life, and you're more open to whatever it is that life has to show you, because we don't know what is best for us. The universe knows what's best for us. Even when we think we know what's best for us, we don't. How many jobs have you worked at where you thought, okay, this is the one, and then it's just not? But then you find something better. We don't know what's best for us. The only thing that we can do is let go and let God. That is how you create peace. And when you create that internal peace by looking within and digging out all of this density to create more destiny, you become lighter, you become higher vibrational, and then the universe can give you all of the things that you are looking for. But it's not going to give it to you when your intention is not based in a higher vibrational energy. When you are coming from a place of lack, the universe is not going to give you what you want, because the universe wants to know that you'll be okay with or without that thing. And that's the process of what you're in the boot camp to be able to cultivate within yourself, is that strength to know that you are not the things that you desire, that you are more than the things that you desire, that you are okay without the things you desire, that there's so much more life to live without the things that you desire, and also that the things that you desire might actually have a better form that you don't even know about yet, that the universe is waiting to give to you, but you're so stuck on the fact that things have to look a particular way. So let go, let God, and let yourself be alone. And so it is. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to deliver this message. This kind of just took over me when I was facing the resistance to recording this video. I was like, what do I even say today? There's been so many conversations that have been circling around me that I feel like could be important, but this felt like one from the heart and felt like something I needed to speak on, which meant that it's going to reach the right people, because there was not as much effort. I'm learning how to effort less and just show up, whatever that looks like. So thank you for allowing me to do so, and for being here on the forefront of this spiritual revolution with me, soldier. I know that if you're watching this video, you are indeed one of the way showers alongside me. So thank you for holding my hand as we walk each other home, because as you heal yourself, you also heal the entire collective. See you, I honor you, I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.